This is a piece from Money Talks, and this really talks about the last decade here, where we seem to have policies that are self-sabotaging our economy here. Let's listen into what he has to say.
When you think about per capita, think about standard of living of yourself or the average individual in Canada. It used to be equal with the United States. Today, after the last 10 years, Canada's per capita GDP is between 28th and 33rd in the world, from third in the world. And the amount of money that we make vis-a-vis an American is just $56,000 in US dollars versus $89,000 for the average person in the US as a whole. If you look at Ontario, which is one of Canada's richest province, it is a GDP equal to the poorest state now in the United States, which is Mississippi. But a starker contrast, and this one sort of hit home in looking at this a few months ago. British Columbia's per capita GDP is just $56,000. Just cross the border into Washington State, and the per capita GDP there is double that of BC at $108,000. Yet, if you can believe it, and this is the kicker, the top marginal personal income tax rate in Washington State is just 37%. And in BC, it's 53%. So we make half as much money as they do, and we're taxed 30% more.
How do we compete? I asked Brenda Bailey, the finance minister here in BC, and she was adamant that BC is competitive, that it has some of the lower rates. And I'm just like, I don't know what she's looking at.
Yeah, she's probably looking at the lowest of the low income tax brackets, but that doesn't really matter. That's not what's driving the economy forward. It's, can you attract the creative capital? Can you attract the workforce that you need to increase your productivity rates? The big criticism is that many businesses actually don't invest in modernization or modifications or innovation. Instead, they just employ low income wage earners. Well, that basically goes against what Brenda Bailey would be saying, and really what we need to do is get far more competitive. We know we're not competitive. That's why we're buying ferries from China.
It's really tough to take. And then no deal. This is the other thing. I think there was an economist we played earlier this morning talking about tariffs has actually worked in the U.S. They've onshored lots of manufacturing back to the U.S. and it hasn't really stoked their inflation. I mean, they have something that Canada doesn't have, and that's the U.S. dollar, the reserve currency of the world. And they also have that military might and people lining up to want to be protected under that umbrella with the Russian-Ukraine war. So, I mean, they have some advantages Canada just does not have.